welcome back to our master class. As you can see now, I'm speaking English and we are going to do all the videos in English, but if you need Spanish, just ask me, okay? You can write it on the comments, you can send me a message, or you can text me, and I promise I give you Spanish support. Understood? Okay, great. Now, let's go to our first idea. Let's go with the reading. And as you can see, the name of the video is Use Your Head, and we are going to see how to pass the reading part. Okay, so we came from the beginning, like the introduction. Now we are going to use your head, that is the reading part. So what are we going to discover in this video? Well, we are going to discover what is the reading for the FCE, tips to pass each and every part. We are going to see the common mistakes students make, and we are going to get our hands dirty, which means that you are going to work. After this video, I'm going to ask you to do a reading. I'm going to ask you a time to do it, and then we are going to correct it in our conference, okay? All together, you, your classmates, me, we're going to have fun, and we are going to see how the reading went. And now, we'll go to the first part of the reading. Different exercises. The first exercise, reading part 1, is multiple choice. They give you a text, and then they give you questions. They give you 6 questions with 4 options, and we are going to find the answer. How are we going to find the answer? First of all, I wanted to tell you something. This is the typical exercise we have been doing as a student. So probably you know it, and you say, oh, this is easy. I have the text, I have the options, I will find the answer, easy. But pay attention. For me, it's the most difficult exercise. Why? Because the text comes from novels, which means that the vocabulary tends to be hard. It's difficult for us to know the words, all the words, and I don't know, for me it makes it hard. Obviously the technique is easy because we are accustomed to it, but the vocab is something we have to work. Now, pay attention, how are we going to do it? As you can see in the image, we have text, questions, and then I make like red marks to show you where the answer is. As you can see, question 1, paragraph 1, question 2, paragraph 2, question 3, paragraph 3. So this means that the answers are in order. It's possible that maybe there is like the last question, then they ask you, hey, give me the general idea of the text. Okay, you have to read everything to know the last question, but the other questions are all in order. My recommendation to do this exercise is to pay attention to something. As I told you, the order of the paragraphs is giving you the order of the answers. Then we have to look for synonyms. Look, if they give you a word in the option and you say, oh, I have it here in the text, this is the answer. No. Probably that's not the answer. If you have the same word, probably it's not the answer. So we have to look for synonyms. They give us synonyms. Essential for this part of the exam. Then another important part, do not worry if you do not understand all the words. You don't need to understand all the words. You need to read between the lines. The context is going to help you, okay? Important thing also is to read each question and then go back to this method that for me works very well. Question, go, question, go, question, go. For me, it's the best way. But as I always tell my students, you find your own strategy. If it works for you better, I read the text, then I go to the questions, great, fantastic. But wait, pay attention. The time flies, and if you read the whole text, then you go to the questions, then you go back to the text. I don't know. Pay attention to the time, okay? So every time that you are doing this exercise, control your time. I recommend you for this exercise maybe to do it in 15 minutes. 15 minutes to start with. 15 would be a good time limit, okay? Then, tips that always work. Same word in the option, and then you find the word in the text. Probably that's not the answer. Do not read the whole text first. You don't need to know all the words, and you don't have to interpret the text. What you find in the answer is the answer. You don't have to interpret. Many students, they want to interpret the text. Oh no, I think here the author tried to say, no, forget about it. Forget about it. If the answer is the correct answer, you will see it, okay? Something will appear, a synonym will appear to tell us, hey, this is the answer, okay? Understood? Great. Now, look at this example I have for you. The question is, we are not going to read now the text, but if you want to read it at home, just pause the video, read it carefully, and you will see. But I'm going to go, and you will see that the question is, how did Charlotte feel about having to queue for a ticket? And then we have the options. I'm going to tell you that the answer is C. Why? Because look at the answer. It says, resigned to missing her train. It says here, Charlotte deduced, mildly irritated by the delay, but content to catch the train. So she was mildly irritated. So you say, oh, wow, irritated is synonym of cross. Cross, that is in option D. And you say, okay, this is the answer. Yeah, but they also say, but content. So if she was content, she was not only cross, right? That's why it says resigned. Resigned means irritated but accepting the situation. That's why the answer. Okay, so you see how important synonyms are. Synonyms are really important, and careful. Read till the end of the sentence. Read it, because here, for example, if you just read might be irritated, you go immediately to answer D. Continue reading to find out that the answer is. Okay, so reading part 1. Text, questions, options, and we have to look for the best option. It seems easy, but remember, it's not so easy as the text has difficult vocabulary. Okay, great. Now, let's go to reading part 2, gap text. Look what happens. Here we have a text. They give us gaps to fill. And how are we going to fill them? Well, as you can see, they give you options. They give you other paragraphs. Sometimes nowadays, they don't give you very big paragraphs. They give you like lines to put in the text. So again, probably if you speak with students, they will tell you that this is the hardest part. It is. It is hard because we are not accustomed to this exercise. It's probably the first time that we are doing this exercise, and it requires a lot of attention. So what to do? Well, we are going to read, fill the blank, and we are going to read after it. So we have the blank and we read the line before and the line that comes after. It's essential because should be a connection between the line before and the line after, okay? So you have to pay attention a lot to the words that come after and before. Then we have to find linking words between the words we are going to match. So there is always something that is linking my paragraph with the paragraph we have in the text. So for me, I always tell my students that grammar, apart from context, is essential. Imagine that you are finishing an exercise with the word she loves this, and it says this, so it's a singular. So we had to go to the paragraphs and try to find something singular, not plural. So we are going to discard options according to the grammar part. As in the other part, you don't need to know all the words. Forget about it. You're not going to understand the whole text. Then again, do not interpret the text. And let's see the tips that always work here. Context plus grammar, as I told you, okay, the context, the information is important, but grammar is also important. Why? Because there is always a link, okay? The link between the paragraphs we have to include and the text is because of the always plural, singulars, the pronouns, okay? They always help you. Then we had to look for clues. What is the information, the tips that appear in the paragraph that can be connected to the text? Again, you don't need to know all the words. I know I repeat this a lot of times, but really it's because students, they want to know all the words. No, that's impossible. Forget about it. We don't know all the words, but we had to do the exercise. Then we don't interpret the text and we look for synonyms. Synonyms always help you because there is always a connection between the word that you find in the text and a synonym in the paragraph. Again, like in the first exercise, if they write one word in the paragraphs in the options and then appears the same word in the text, probably that's not the answer. Okay? Well, underline the possible connections. When we are working, I think it's essential, the underlining. If you underline exactly what you need, oh, I need a singular, underline it. Then you go to the paragraphs. You will find out that it's easy to make the connections. Remember that there is always a paragraph that you don't need to use. That's why it's so hard, the exercise, okay? Another thing I want to tell you is, another thing I want to tell you is, if you see this example, when we are doing this exercise, it's important to be very concentrated. You had to be focused on the text, and you had to be also very aware of what you are connecting. What happens? Well, that when you finish doing this exercise, my recommendation is to read the whole text with your paragraphs included. So you will see if it has sense. Should make sense, because if you read something that you, oh my gosh, it's not making sense, think again the possible connections. Look at this example. Well, here we have connections. Look, we have centimeters with the smallest. See? 5 centimeters with the smallest. There is a connection, right? Something small of 5 centimeters. And then aggressive with fiercely, synonyms that also go together. There is always a connection. Always, always. Okay, great. Now, don't forget, warning, what happens? That, as I told you before, it's important to read the whole text when you finish. If you don't read it and you go immediately to the other exercise, you are not going to see if your text with the paragraphs included makes sense. Okay, so take time for that. We are almost there. Look at these 3 guys. Probably you know them. I know the name of only 2 of them. I'm a disaster. I hate football. But they are saying, hey, finally, we are almost there. Yeah, you're almost there. The reading is finishing. Almost there. So, reading part 3, multiple matching. Okay. I like this exercise very much. First of all, because I think it's really easy. It is. I would say that it's the easiest part of the reading, and it's very simple. They give you questions, they give you text, okay? All the texts are speaking about the same topic. Maybe that's the difficult part, but you don't have to answer questions. No. The only thing you have to do is to tell the examiner what is the connection between the question and the text. So you have to tell me, where can I find the answer? In which text I find the answer to that question, okay? Pay attention. It's like mandatory to have at least one text in one question, okay? So maybe you have like 3 A's, 1 C, and 2 B's. That's okay. But every text should have one question at least, okay? How are you going to do it? Well, again, my method. My method, it goes like this. We are going to read one text. We go to the questions. One text, questions. Text, question. I think it's easier, and I think it saves a lot of time. Yeah. Then, again, you don't need to know all the words. I know that I repeat this many times, but it's because I know that you get sometimes frustrated when you don't understand the words. Again, we don't interpret the text, and we look for synonyms. In this part of the text of the exam, I would say that synonyms are very important. probably more important than in the other parts. Okay, so we are going to underline the possible connections and we are going to do it. Keep in mind that there is always at least one question per text, the thing that I was telling you before, okay? We have to read the last text and look for the connections. And this is really important. What happens? Well, normally you say, oh, okay, I finished. I read 3 texts, then I have the last one. But obviously, the last one is going to be the questions that have no connections. But I recommend you not to guess, right? Go, if you have time, just go to that text, read perfectly, and see if the questions that you have left, they really have a connection with the text, okay? Because you have to review, you have to check. Maybe you made a mistake before. Okay, then we don't interpret the text, we look for synonyms, and again, the same word in the question, the same word in the questions, question and text with the same words, probably that's not the answer. Look at the example, okay? Here, I recommend you to read the example carefully when we finish this video. Here we have connections with words, and you are going to see how easy it is. Really, this exercise is really easy. I like it. I like it. I always recommend my students to start with this exercise because it's easy to do it and you will get points. Another important thing. Imagine you are doing you are doing a reading, and then the time is finishing. Remember, try to write an answer. Guess. If you don't have the time, just guess. Write something. Okay? Do not leave answers without answer. Do not leave questions without answer. Okay? Try to guess. Write something because they don't penalize you for mistakes. Okay? And maybe you guess. Maybe you are lucky. Here, the connections that we can see are eager to find peace and quiet with clear your head of the hassle. Okay, here we have a connection, and that's it. Now, summarizing. Guess if you don't know what to write. As I told you before, just guess. You don't have time, you don't know what to write, write something. Put whatever. Then, you don't need to guess for the answer. There is always something, there is always a synonym, there is always a word that is linking your question to the answer. The best thing to be good at reading is reading books, magazines, and articles. Whatever you read, everything helps, and it's gonna be better for your vocabulary. You will know more vocabulary, and this is like the key thing to pass the reading. Then try to do the reading in 45 minutes. Remember that the reading and the use of English, they go together, which means that 45 minutes for the reading and the rest of the time for the use of English. And now finishing the video, we are going to write in 1 minute, what have you discovered in this video? How are you going to put it into practice? Because, as I told you before, if you don't take notes of the things you are learning, okay? So I will give you the minute starting. Okay, great. Okay, I'm gonna read all your comments, I promise, and then I'm going to answer them. Now, let's go. Lights, camera, action, let's practice. So what I want you is to download the reading test that you will see here under the video. And we are going to set a time of 45 minutes, and you will try to use to do the exercise without using a dictionary, okay? At the beginning, sometimes when you are starting studying, I say that, hey, use a dictionary, we are learning, it's okay. But let's try to have a challenge today, because the masterclass is shorter. Then when we do the workshops, we are going to be able to use the dictionary at the beginning. Okay, and send me the answers. Now, what happens after all this? We have just finished with the reading part, and now we are going to the sacred grammar, the use of English, that everyone thinks that is the easiest part. Let's see what happens after this. See you. Go and play.